Deion did this week what NFL teams honestly were afraid that he was going to do.
All right, tell me this, because this is all over the media, because I know y'all keep it a buck. That's why I love y'all to life.
Yes.
They made a big deal out of Philly called us on draft day.
Okay.
They didn't mention that. I just let a cat out of the bag.
I didn't know that. Yeah, okay.
Who was it? Baltimore. And the Browns. And the Browns. They forget, I know, I played for Baltimore, so me and Ozzie are cool. So we understood that whole conversation, and he wanted to talk to Shedeur as well as he wanted to talk to me. And I put Shedeur on the phone, and Shedeur, I don't want to say how it went, but how in the world can somebody fault him for saying or thinking, why in the world would I go back up Lamar for 10 more years?
For sure.
I've never sat on the bench and said, well, I learned a lot today.
The people that they turned down are much better than the players that they turned down are much better than the players that they currently redshirting behind. You don't redshirt behind Dylan Gabriel. You redshirt
or Joe Flacco at 40 years old.
You redshirt behind Mahomes or Lamar or
Jalen Hurts.
And you just basically submit yourself to them.
So if Deion said that the Eagles one was true, we can probably assume the Ravens one was true. So how many other teams tried to draft Shedeur and Shedeur said no? There are only about 4 to 6 teams that Shedeur could have gone to and been a day one starter, and the Browns weren't even one of them. So that's why I'm just like, come on, bro. Beggars can't be choosers. But the NFL is a billion-dollar business. It is a privilege to be a part of the billion-dollar business. Shedeur can ask his older brother Shiloh.
Well, now tuned in to the Dark Times channel.
And so here we go again, back with another one. Welcome back to the Dark Times channel. And we got to go ahead and talk about what's going on lately with Shedeur Sanders, because lately the media has been on this shameless.
Shame on me. You're not helping. Shame on you. Shame on you.
And when I say shameless, I mean shameless attempt at making the Shedeur Sanders family out to be the reason that Shedeur is in the situation that he's in.
He did nothing wrong, but this is what they were afraid of. He was on the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce and commented on his son, Shedeur, who's, of course, a quarterback on the Cleveland Browns.
You've been keeping up with Shedeur in Cleveland. What's the best piece of advice you've given him as a dad and as a coach?
Be patient and be ready. You got to be ready when it's time. But when it's time, you're going to know. And it's coming up.
There we go.
You know, I got a prediction. I ain't telling nobody. I got a feeling when it's going to go down. But it's going to go down this year.
It's going to happen. All right.
Yeah, he can get a shot.
And that's all you can ask for as a player. All you can ask for is the opportunity, right?
This is unfortunately why teams weren't interested. Because of this. Now you have the most prominent sports dad, along with LeBron James, making projections and predictions that he's going to start. Deion saying Shedeur is going to start this year would indicate not beating out just one guy, but 2 guys. One guy who's won a Super Bowl as a starting quarterback and who just won a game against arguably playing the best team in the NFL at the time in Green Bay, and the other guy who was drafted ahead of him.
So I just feel like it was a little bit short-sighted for Shedeur and for Deion to take that tact when it comes to the draft process and pressure the NFL into putting Shedeur in a situation like the Cleveland Browns.
And so when that person is your mentor and is your steward through this process, what would have worked for him may not work for you. But how are you not going to listen to your dad? Of course, he has your best interest at heart, and he knows way better than most people going through this process what is the best thing to do and someone that you should lean on for advice. But Tom Brady talked about this on the Fox broadcast this week. Sometimes for a quarterback, especially not a quarterback taken in the first round, it is the most advantageous path for you to sit behind someone who you can learn from.
And so it's not like we don't understand where the media is coming from, of course. And they got a right to feel that way, if indeed they actually do feel that way. But there's a lot of people, including myself, that feel like Shedeur Sanders and the Sanders family, we're going to get that wake-up call by the NFL no matter what.
Here's what it is.
If the NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source. A very good source.
After seeing what's been going on for the last couple of weeks, do you feel like that stands?
Yeah, I didn't make that up. That's true.
That's true.
That's true. That's a true statement. I mean, I got it from an inside source. The guy who works for the National Football League. He got it from inside the league. Yeah, I mean, look, it's different for us. He's gonna say that, black players, we can't speak out like some of the white players. Nothing against the white players. It's not even about that. We both have the same struggles. I mean, we really do. So it's just sometimes they want to make a statement, to show you that, you're not all that. I know they don't care for his dad. And I think Deion's a great guy. Deion tries to help these young men become men, not boys.
And so if indeed Shedeur Sanders was getting his wake-up call by the NFL, do y'all think Deion Sanders' prime time didn't know what time it was?
Yeah, this is so funny. It's funny when he's lost for words because
I know what's going on.
But it's funny because he never comes to that conclusion. No, he never does.
No,
he's gonna be the last one to ever say that.
I like to have hope, and I like to trust God. Dang, God ain't
this ain't God.
This
the devil.
And so if I'm Deion, and I know what I know, or I believe what I believe, the absolute worst thing that Shedeur could have done, and if I'm Deion Sanders, I'm telling him the same thing. The worst thing you can do is go play for a team in which you're not going to play right away, or at least get an opportunity in which you're not going to play right away. Because Shedeur Sanders, he would have lost the only thing that he has going for him right now, which is public support. So right now, Shedeur is a rock star. He's a rock star in Cleveland. And he's got the #1 selling jersey in the NFL. And so there's no reason, after that first preseason performance, with limited reps with the Browns, mind you, he was throwing the trash cans and security guards. Shedeur Sanders went out there in that first preseason game with all the lights on, the most highly watched, highly anticipated preseason game ever. He went out there and put on a show. And so there was no reason after that performance that Shedeur Sanders, at the very least, wasn't getting first team reps in practice. And nobody in Baltimore was going to be clamoring for Shedeur Sanders to play when they got a 2-time MVP, Lamar Jackson, at quarterback.
And now look at him, bro.
I totally disagree with you. First of all, he's supposed to go with round, or not, with pick, Shedeur, like top 10, top 15.
Yeah.
Guys gotta get injured or not be good for me to play. But if you go to the Browns, I'm in a room full of backups.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Eagles. Nobody's going to be clamoring for Shedeur Sanders to come in there for the Eagles when they got a Jalen Hurts that's fresh off of taking them to a Super Bowl. And then on top of that, those two teams don't even run offensive schemes that's going to be suited for Shedeur Sanders. The only thing Shedeur is going to learn is how to hold a clipboard. And some might say there's a reason that those two QBs, those two teams called, talking about two highly talented black quarterbacks, two MVP caliber quarterbacks. Some might say that's not a coincidence. Some might say, I'm not saying I'm saying that, but that's what some people are saying. And let's say hypothetically, Shedeur winds up going to one of those two teams. In 3 or 4 years, if and when he finally does get his opportunity, all the buzz around Shedeur Sanders is gone. All the energy has dissipated behind Shedeur Sanders. And so like I said earlier, there's no more leverage on a bad team and a bad organization. And if he doesn't go out there and make them a winning team overnight, they can say, oh, we tried. I guess he wasn't good enough. And nobody would have cared. It would have been on to the next story. So a lot of people are saying there's a reason why these reports are just now coming out.
This is after the fact. Look, a lot of these guys, to me, they throw them in there too fast or too soon. But I mean, that's the age we're in right now. They want the #1 picks to play right away, the quarterback. Some of them aren't ready. That's why some of them fail. Some of them, and it depends on what team you go to. I mean,
there's some guys that gotta get injured or not be good for me to play. But if you go to the Browns, I'm in a room full of backups.
Yeah, but then, Kieran, can everybody return their anger? Can we return our outrage and go get our emotions back? Because all the outrage we gave to the Sanders family, ain't nobody drafted Shedeur. Man, what the hell? So if Deion said that the Eagles one was true, we can probably assume the Ravens one was true. So how many other teams tried to draft Shedeur and Shedeur said no? There are only about 4 to 6 teams that Shedeur could have gone to and been a day one starter, and the Browns weren't even one of them. So that's why I'm just like, come on, bro. Beggars can't be choosers. And not that Shedeur Sanders is a beggar by any stretch of the imagination, but the NFL is a billion-dollar business. It is a privilege to be a part of the billion-dollar business. Shedeur can ask his older brother Shiloh.
And so, y'all, I'm not buying it. And mainly because a lot of people, including myself, believe that, if it was a real competition from the beginning, from the Browns like they said it was going to be, if they would have let Shedeur Sanders practice and play with the ones and twos, especially after that first preseason game performance, now that would have legitimized it in a lot of people's eyes, but they didn't do that. And the fact that they didn't do that in a lot of people's eyes, it let them know that they had no intentions at Shedeur Sanders winning the starting job. And so nobody could have predicted that. Nobody could have predicted that an organization, a team, would not want the best quarterback in the room to play, or at the very least find out who the best quarterback in the room is. But those are my thoughts on it. Make sure you guys go ahead and keep the conversation going on as we usually do. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me one time. And as usual, peace, chaos.